You may have heard this word before, mindfulness. Now, this has become somewhat of a buzz phrase as of late. So what exactly is mindfulness and why even bother practicing it? Welcome back to my channel, everyone. For those of you who have been following along over the past few weeks, you would know that I have already spoken about self-compassion, which is something that is highly tied to today's topic. So without further ado, let's get into it. If you've ever taken the time to Google mindfulness, you will know that there's many different variations as to how to define it. So today I'm going to provide you with a simple, servable definition, which is this. Mindfulness is the basic ability to know what's going on in our minds without getting carried away by it. More precisely, it's the ability to be fully present while observing our thoughts, emotions, and feelings without judgment. For example, imagine that you're driving along down the road and then someone cuts you off and almost hits you. How do you normally react? I think most of us typically react by having a thought, something like, this person, or I'm pissed. And then what happens next? You habitually, reflexively, immediately inhabit that thought. You actually become pissed, meaning that there's no buffer between the stimulus and the reaction. Now, with just a little bit of mindfulness in the same situation, instead of reacting right away, you might instead notice that your chest is getting tight, that your ears are getting warm, that you're having some self-righteous thoughts like, this guy's an idiot. Why would he cut me off? Now I'm gonna be late. Like, the whole world revolves around you. And although you may be experiencing these things, it doesn't mean that you need to act on them. It doesn't mean that you need to get out of your car and yell at this person who is probably already having their own shitty day. Now, you might be thinking, am I not justified for being angry? And I would say yes, but probably not to the extent that you think that you are. The proposition here is not that you should be rendered by mindfulness into some lifeless, non-judgmental blob. The proposition here is rather that you should learn how to respond wisely to things that happen to you rather than react blindly. Mindfulness is a great way to help us regulate our emotions. And to that I mean, if we have BPD, a lot of the times we're like, I don't know how I feel. I'm just feeling all these things. I'm just overwhelmed and that's it. And all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what all these crazy sensations and emotions are. And then you might have an emotional explosion. Well, mindfulness can help you bring everything back down. You might be a bit skeptical on the superpowers of mindfulness, and I don't blame you. So let's take a look at what the research has to say. There has been so many studies on the topic of mindfulness. I'll just link a few in the show notes down below for those of you interested in furthering your reading. I'm just going to read now some of what the research literature has to show, but essentially it says that regular mindfulness practice has the ability to reduce rumination and stress, boost working memory, increase focus, decrease emotional reactivity, increase cognitive flexibility, help combat depression, improves physical health, so things like sleep, manage chronic pain, eating habits, and improve our relationships. That was a lot, and there's so many more benefits that I just didn't have the time to name. I hope you believe me now when I say that mindfulness is a superpower, and you might be wondering, well, how do I get it? The best way to harness it is to practice. Luckily for us, there are so many different ways to practice mindfulness. The first one being, of course, meditation, which involves practicing mindfulness while sitting, standing, or lying down for a predetermined period of time. Now, there's different ways to practice meditation. There's no right way. I'll link some of my favorite apps and resources in the show notes down below for those of you interested. Personally, the meditations that I like doing the most are self-compassion, metta meditations, as well as Vipassana body scans. And I actually did complete a 10-day silent meditation Vipassana retreat, so I will be making a video on that shortly. Another awesome way to practice mindfulness is through contemplative prayers. Now, this involves a more spiritual aspect to mindfulness, where we could think of the Christian centering prayers, the Islamic Sufi practice, or the Hindu Raja Yoga. So there are different ways of including our religious beliefs into the practice of mindfulness. Another great way would be to practice mindful movement. So whether that's yoga, tai chi, qigong, spiritual or ecstatic dancing, walking. So incorporating the practice of the mind with the physical body. And the last thing I will suggest would be to practice mindful activities. So eating mindfully, just really taking the time to feel the food in your mouth, the flavors, the textures. You could do things like taking a cold shower. It really shocks your system and kind of forces you to be present. So to feel the cold water on your body. You can also do things like taking a sauna. So in a sauna, just practicing mindfulness to see the physical sensations of the activities that you're doing. Mindfulness is great because it can be practiced at any time and anywhere and is free and accessible to everyone. Intentionally paying attention to the moment without judging or holding it is all that you need. Let me just close by saying that mindfulness is not going to solve all your problems. It's not going to render your life a nonstop parade of rainbows and unicorns, but nonetheless, this is a superpower that is accessible and that you can harness immediately. If you found this video useful, be sure to give it a like. It is great for the YouTube algorithm, which means that the more people like this, the more my video gets shared and the more we help to spread awareness on BPD. As always, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button down below as well as the bell notification up top to get notified when I do post new videos every Monday. On that note, thank you so much for watching and I will see you soon.